Hello everyone. I'm gonna see if I can make sure that everything is working for myself here. Actually, hold on a second. So I gotta put you on the dark screen here. Make sure everything's running smoothly. I think everything's working right. So we're gonna go ahead, just flip a coin real quick to see who gets what. This is for the drafting, and then I'll get in the details later. Looks like tails. All right. 1 second, folks. All right, so hello everyone. We are waiting for things to get started here. A couple of the players are just warming up and we'll begin shortly. I can take some time actually. I can go over the maps while we're here, and then I'll explain everything else. I'll wait to do a formal introduction till we're sort of started with everything. But we can go ahead. I'm going to show the maps here because probably most people have not seen them yet. I think, actually, hold on. Make sure. Yeah, here we go. Okay, that should be showing. Hold on 1 second, folks. So, as I said, we're just waiting for the players to, waiting for them to draft. When they send the draft, I'll switch it over to that. But for right now, I want to go ahead and show you all the maps that we're working with here because they are new. They have not been played before. Well, they've been played in, like testing here and there, but not formally just yet. And something to note about these maps in particular is that they are revisions of the Ensemble Studios maps. So you can see here I'm showing you like all of these have a prefix ESR, right? Ensemble Studios revision. You should be, I don't remember where in the maps they are, but everyone should have access to the originals. I think they all have the prefix of ES for like Ensemble Studios. They're like standard maps that you can find in the game. I'll just let them know. Just let them know that they can start when they are ready. And in the meantime, we're going to take a look here. So we're looking at canals here. Now, as you can see, there is, as you'd expect, a canal leading from, I believe it's always between each player. I'll show what it looks like in higher player settings. But so you can see how like on the outside right, we have most of the wood on the fringes of the map. And it's not that far away from your TC, right? So it's not that bad to, go and drop a lumber camp and wall up to the sides there. And you should have some nice secure wood. These middle trees you probably won't go for unless you're like expanding, for like one of the golds or one of the stones, or you want to take like a forward position, like drop a castle like here or something, and you need to do something with your villas. You might send them on a lumber camp, but for the most part, probably just players will take wood here, and that'll be nice and safe. And then I'm not sure. It's hard to say what is the right play here. I mean, whenever you have water, it feels like you should probably dock, even if just like, 2 or even just 3 fishing ships to gather this fish. But we also have this newer feature which has been added I think it was a couple patches ago. It was added with the Greek civs, the special DLC that they did, and then now it's been made part of the base game, so it's always available. And this is gold. I don't know the mining rates. Villagers can mine it, and fishing ships can also mine it. So not only are you getting some fish, but probably the more important thing is you got all this gold here. Looks like about, what, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tiles of gold here. I don't know the amount. I can't check here in the scenario editor, but I think it's the same as normal gold. Hey, Otter. You should post it. Oh, I actually... Oh, yeah, good point. Well, I told Tech he should do it. I don't have any authority, unfortunately. So I have to wait for other people to do things for me. But I told him, so I'll bug him if he doesn't mention anything. I'm not an official caster or anything with Alchemy League, so I don't have the privileges of going live on... Or it doesn't show that I'm going live when I go live. The live channel. But yeah, right now we're just waiting. Oh, wait. Oh, you're right. Is promotion... Oh, that's a good point. I've never used that channel, but I guess you're right on that. Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Alright, yeah. Well, it's no problem when you folks are ready. I'm just taking a look at the maps here since we have time. But yeah, so, as I was saying, I probably expect not a lot of action on the water here. It doesn't give you... I mean, it's valuable, but it's not so valuable you want to really invest too much. There's so much more land. It doesn't give you that much map control. One thing you could... I mean, it could be quite costly to try and wall around it, but, if you could secure the water, you could try for some fish traps, but that's a little inspired. I'm not sure that would actually work out. But I'll show, for example, if we go to a 8-player map. Yeah, so you can see that the canals here spend a lot more of the map, and it probably, on a larger map setting, it'd be more valuable to focus on the water because it takes up so much more space. But in a 1v1, less so. And then these are two graveyards, which I believe is on the map list for today, so we should be seeing how this plays out. So, this is, I believe, so yeah, there's a couple of different ways this can generate, I believe. Yeah, so, there's a couple different seasons, right? And we have these, this is the ruined fortified monastery. These are the graveyards, as you can see. And I think, are they always in the corners? Let's see. Yeah, it looks like they're always in the corners. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, quite a bit of different seasons here. So it looks like, wow, this I don't know how it looks on the screen for everyone else, but for me, these are like really brightly colored. It's kind of crazy. These are the newer trees added in the most recent patch. But anyway, oh, I just realized I have too many players. That I forgot about that. That would help to change that. Sorry, that's my bad. That's a classic thing. If you generate a map and see it looks kind of weird, you should check settings like that. So yeah, there should actually be way more graveyard sections here. So it's not like there's not a lot of res. I mean, there are relics here and there. Of course, they're going to be valuable. This is more useful. I mean, sometimes there's some stone, it looks like. Yeah. So there's sometimes some neutral minerals. But these are more useful for, like, map control. I'm not sure you'd want to drop a castle. Sort of depends. But, yeah. So we always have this central little pond. Again, it's not big. It's not huge. It's more like the Acropolis, the version. Are you starting? All right, sick. Okay, good. You had the draft here. I'll take a look here. All right. Let us swap over to the drafts. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys can start that. I'll shrink this down so we can take a look. So, I'll tell you guys you can start. So you know. So this is going to be 5 games. See you later, Otter. Good luck. This is going to be 5 games. It's a playoff 5 format. It's $2 per win, $6 for the winner, $5 for the loser. And we are going to be playing on... So it's 5 maps. You get to pick 7 civs. And so you're going to have 2 extra, right? Now, I picked a particular 5 of the maps. Game 1's going to be Prairie, and then it's a pick from each player. Or pick for the loser, sorry. You get 2 bands up front. So Hydur got to be the host. He flipped tails, which was his preferred side, and he wanted to be host. Banning out the Malians and the Mongols seems solid. Both pretty solid civs. There's quite a bit of hybrid maps. Malians are quite good on a lot of those. Mongols can also be good on hybrid maps, but they're also just a generally good civ. Hey Tech, welcome. We're just starting with the draft here. Mongols is always a typically a very good ban just because they're good on a lot of different settings. And Turks and Goths ban. It's kind of interesting. Those are interesting bans. I mean, I wonder if those are kind of targeted. I don't know a lot about Hydur's playstyle, so maybe he likes both of those civs. I don't know. Persian's being picked out. A very solid hybrid civ. And can be solid on just like normal civs as well. But, oh, Georgians and Armenians. Okay, both the mule cart civs. Interesting. Georgians, again, very solid civ. They're not nearly as strong as they used to be. They kind of have a reputation of being busted, but since the recent patch, they're really not nearly as strong as they once were. But they're still a solid civ. They still have a lot of options. They actually have a pretty wide tech tree, even though most players play towards their stable units. We have Khmer and Portuguese picked for Hydur, and then the Maya for Otter. Portuguese, could be another hybrid civ. Lithuanians picked for Otter. Thanks for doing these. Yeah, no problem, Tech. I thought it would be fun to see. I'm just curious to see how these maps will play out because this is kind of the first, I mean, apart from any testing, this is kind of like the first time I'm seeing anyone play on these, so should be interesting. Oh, you know what? I forgot about this. Yeah, my computer is typically at the limits of its capacities when I stream. I think I had to change something here. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's going to be, the quality's not going to be the best. I have to change some settings around, and we'll see how it checks out for after the first game. And I might have to see if I can change a few things, but unfortunately, it's kind of kind of at the limits of what my computer can handle. I put it through a lot, but I'll just see how it works after the first game, and if it's really bad, I'll go back and change things before we go ahead. Let me see. I'll change a few of these settings here. This might help. But take a look back at the civs here. We have Lithuanians, Bohemians. Bohemians, of course, are a great civ for closed maps. Makes sense you want to have one because we're going to be having, I believe it's called moats. That's a closed map. It's kind of like hill forts. Familiar. Spanish also quite good on that sort of closed setting. We got Japanese and Saracens. Saracens is an interesting pick. Could just be a pick for dealing with like scout knight civs. You know, they're really good camels. You could also play archers with them too, are quite good. And Japanese are a good pick for hybrid maps. Malay also a very good pick on water-based maps. Yeah, it looks like a pretty solid draft for both players, I think. You got the Inca as the last pick. Interesting. Not sure where those are going to be played just yet. And the last pick for Otter is going to be Hindustanis. Okay, interesting. So actually, yeah, I'm going to take a moment here. Let me see if I can mess with some of these settings. So I remember that being an issue last time, and hold on a second here, folks. Sorry. I think it looks like I can't change the resolution I'm streaming at currently without closing the stream. I totally forgot about that. That's my bad. We'll see how bad it is. Like I said, if it's really bad, I'll just restart the stream real quick and I'll change it. But we'll see how it goes. I lowered some things, but like I said, it's kind of I kind of test the limits of my computer whenever I go streaming, especially with like Capture Age and Age of Empires running, etc. But game number 1 will be Prairie. And, oops, sorry, that's the wrong thing. And Prairie is a very open map. I'm expecting quite a bit of aggression. Yeah, Capture Age is very greedy. It does take up a lot of processing power, that's for sure. So we'll see how it goes. If it's really bad, I'll just quickly take a moment for between games, and hopefully that can fix things. But if we're looking at Prairie, not sure it's worth the trade for resolution. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It tends to be kind of volatile. Sometimes it works out okay, and sometimes it's just like horrendously bad. So it could have been worse. I've been hearing a lot of issues with it lately. I don't know, something to do with the most recent patch. I feel like made it even worse than it used to be. Unfortunately, it does seem to happen with patches. I've heard a lot of other caches have a lot of issues with Capture Age, which is unfortunate because it's a very good tool. So we'll see how bad it is. And if it's just, I mean, I can cast in game if I really need to, but we'll see. But game 1's going to be Prairie. And Prairie, like I said, it's a pretty open map. And I'm looking at the civs, and it's not immediately clear what you'd want to pick. I mean, Hydur probably wants to pick Khmer. Really nice Scout Rush civ. And that means that Otter might want to pick Hindustanis in response. Of course, they got great camels, so always going to be a good option against a civ that wants to go for their stable units. And they have a nice Scout Rush themselves. The eco should be a little bit better for the Khmer, I think, though, if we get long enough on enough farms. So, you know, it's sort of up for debate if it's... I mean, like, if it goes into an extended enough feudal age, you imagine the Khmer eco should be a little bit better. But if you can weather the storm as Hindustanis, the game typically tends to go better and better for you. Sorry, I'm responding to the players. I just had some questions. Questions about the settings. Tell them just... I'm making sure they have standard victory. Just make sure it should be the same settings as what we have in the normal games during the tournament. So standard victory. But the rest is pretty much the same from other games you play. Yeah, they're just sitting in the lobby. Now, if it's, let's see. So if, let's say, they pick Khmer and Hindustanis, then probably like the Malay would be for moats, I think, for Hydur. I don't know. Or you could do Portuguese, I guess. They could be fine on closed maps. Armenians could be good on closed maps as well. They have a really nice monk rush. Especially with their warrior priests, they are better at collecting relics because they're significantly faster than normal monks are. And Otter could, Otter has quite a bit of options, to be honest, for like kind of clowny closed map settings. Could do Armenians, could do Lithuanians, could do Bohemians and Spanish, or even Hindustanis can be fine, but you probably prefer them somewhere else. I'm quite interested on the Spanish pick, to be honest. I'm not sure where that's going to be. Now, the fast castle into conquistadors is always a considerable threat when you're dealing with the Spanish, but it is, because of that, it is also quite predictable. So, because of that, it's not always so great. Um, like if you anticipate it, it's not nearly as strong, right? How did I find out? That's a good question. I don't remember. I think it was probably just something I saw in like the promotion channel. I think of it, it was probably AoE leagues. They tend to have, probably Javisti posted it, like a promotion message for one of the signups. But I actually had heard about Alchemy League beforehand. There was a, what was it? There was a different community tournament. I think it was called it was the Specialists. So that was several months ago. Actually, that was last year, like towards the end of last year. And there were some people I was doing some practice with, and they had participated in one of the Alchemy League seasons before. So I'd heard of it from then. I didn't know what it was, but when I was looking for other tournaments, I'm pretty sure I found about it from AoE Leagues. Yeah, Javisti, he's around a lot. Like he does a lot of adminning. I think he's very knowledgeable about the game. I think he's very committed to, just kind of promoting the game in general, promoting different community projects and the such. So yeah, I think he does good work. He's also he's does work for the deathmatch community. It's not nearly as large as it used to be, is my impression, but there's still a solid deathmatch sort of niche, I would say, and he does some adminning for them. But I think, let me see here. We should have not that. So we're gonna try Capture Age. We're gonna see how it goes, and if it's really bad, we'll cast in game. But we're gonna test our luck because it's really nice the features that Capture Age provides. But it has been having a lot of problems lately. But also my computer is quite old, so that is something to keep in mind. Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. Okay, well, that's interesting. Okay, all right, I got kicked out of the match for some reason. Hold on. What's going on here? I think what might be happening... Yeah, okay, I think I know what's happening. I got I got a copy of the map, I think, in one of my folders. Is probably conflicting with theirs. That's my best guess. So let me go take care of that for now. It's kind of a mess because I have a lot of random like scripts just all over the place. I really need to tidy it up at some point. And blah blah blah. Where is this resources going? Yeah, I think okay. All right, sorry about this, folks, but I'm pretty sure I know exactly what happened there. Yeah. I was looking at the maps earlier, and I did a terrible choice, which was I sorry folks, let me close this for a second. I like just put them directly into the folder without like being part of the GitHub branch, so it caused some problems. But I'm double check that the GitHub branch is on empty. It should be right now, but I'm pretty sure that was the issue there. So let me just say, yeah, okay, yeah, it's on empty, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. Luckily, they didn't make this mistake of putting it as private. That would be inconvenient. But no, they know what they're doing, at least in that regard. No, I'm not familiar with Mike Jet. Is that like a player who's been with you for a while? All right, let me pull up the game here. And this time, get in the game. Yep. Oh, it's giving me the same problem. Why is that happening? I don't have that. Or is it because I don't have the map? Oh no. Oh dear. Yeah, that's true. A lot of friends are. A lot of people. There's a lot of the player base does tend to skew quite older. I'm not sure why my game is being like this. Use the auto downloader? Yeah, I guess I should. I don't know why that would cause problems though, but yeah, who knows. The last time I tried to use the auto downloader, it didn't work for me, but I can give it a try again. Alright, let me pull this up. And this is where the fact that I'm not very smart about where I put my files is inconvenient. But let me pull up the auto downloader. Can you remind me, Tech, where the auto downloader is? I'm just gonna re-download it because I don't remember where I placed it. It's in the, isn't it in the resources? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. I got it. Yep. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's try this now. Ah, it's giving me the same issue. Huh. That's weird. Why is that giving me such an error? I should have known something was going to go weird here. Alright, sorry about this, folks. I gotta figure out why this will not let me run. Or not let me watch. I even had it had the maps installed, so that's the weird thing about it. Let's see here. Is this? Here we go. Yep. Resources. Comment. Huh. That's weird. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's an interesting feature. So actually, it looks like when the lobby tried to download the file for the map script, it just did not, it failed. So now it's got like a dummy file. Let me see if I can get rid of this. Let me try this again. That's super strange though. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, hold on. I think I know what's happening here. Alright, alright. Believe I can... I got a fix for this though. So yeah, that's an interesting feature. I don't know, Tech, if you had any issues before with trying to cast games in Alchemy League. You have problems with the maps being transferred? I know there's always like issues with the maps. Or there can be sometimes because of the way the lobby works or something, but okay, let's try this. So, find custom game, again, spectate. Yep. Oh, it's not working for me. Alright. Never cast them live. Oh, interesting. Huh. I wonder if that's the problem. But that shouldn't matter. I don't know why that's throwing such an error up all the time. I wonder if it is something to do with casting it live that causes an issue, but I don't know why that would. That is strange. Alright, one last thing I'm gonna try here. So let's go ahead and go back into the game here. Well, at least by the time I get this figured out, they might have the game might be over, so I can at least cast that as a rec. So at least we have something, so you folks don't have to just look at a blank screen here. I've never ran into this issue before, so I guess this is one reason why it can be nicer to cast with recs. I found there always can be a bunch of random weird things going wrong with the like in-game lobby system. It does some weird stuff sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of looks like that. I can't actually go over the maps. If I'm gonna try one last thing, and if it doesn't, we'll just review the maps, and then I'll like ask them for the recording, and then they can keep playing, and I'll just cast them as Rex a little bit behind, and that'll be okay. It's not ideal, but you know, it could be worse. All right, let's try this one more time. If it doesn't work, then I'm kind of out of ideas for this. Okay, so that is not going to work. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at Prairie as a map, and we can imagine, before we see the game, what it'll be like. Okay, so let's take a look. ESR, where is it? ESR Prairie, here we go. So, you can see we have a very open map here. Very little resources. This whole like space here in the middle, I guess this is like kind of the main part of the prairie, right? There's sort of nothing. It's just open. There's a few tiles of stone, a few tiles of gold. You do have your deer, which are, I believe these are mouflon. I'm not sure how to pronounce those. But they act as deer. There's like a reskin of the deer. And you have some very small wood lines and a few small hills. You see it's pretty flat terrain for the most part. And there's some sort of debris, some ruined buildings here on the fringes. And the relics, of course, are all dotted around the edges. So it's kind of interesting in the way that Oh, right. You're right. Sorry, I'm not even showing the game. I'm just you have to imagine what I'm talking about. My bad. Okay, glad I checked. Yeah, sorry folks. Here we go. So there was an issue. Actually, I'm gonna just tell them right now when they're done. Sorry, it's a good point. Good point. I checked to make sure I actually switch the screen over, but you should be able to see it now. But as you can see here, as I was saying, in the middle we have a pretty open space that has very little going on. There's a few, bits of res, right? But most of the res is on the outside of the map. Now, what's interesting is that typically when you are expanding, early Castle Age through most of Castle Age, you typically like to expand, if you can, in the direction of your opponent towards the middle of the map. Because if you imagine, like, if I have a base set up here, I can take up a lot more space and I can go and raid on the sides. It's just easier for me to get around, right? And that's especially true if I have, like, a much slower, less mobile army. Like, for example, Arbalesters in Siege, they're a lot slower than Cav units are. So it's nice to get a nice big push going, maybe like Forward Siege, Forward Workshop, etc. But the interesting feature of this map in particular compared to other ones, right, is that there's not much res in the center. So really you're more pushed towards expanding on the outside, but there's also still not a lot of res. It's pretty sparse in general. So I would expect that most games would be very aggressive and they probably wouldn't last that long. You probably want to get a really big military lead. Screen's blurry, yeah. This is a classic problem here with my whole streaming setup. I think I have to... Yeah, I might have to change some settings. We'll see what... I'll wait for the folks to... Okay, they sent me the rec. Okay, hold on, folks here. Okay, so they sent me the rec here. But as you can see, I would expect a very aggressive game that does not last a lot of time with playing with a lot of military. But they did send me the rec here, so I can actually go ahead and add this in. Just give me a second here, folks. While I grab this. And looks like this may be a day that we don't get to enjoy Capture Age. I don't really want to entertain any more issues than I've already had. So give me 1 second, folks. Let me get this sorted. Okay, so apologies for that. We'll see how this works. Now you should be able to see the game. We're just gonna work with the in-game setting for now, and we'll put on this setting here. So, and let's get the villager count. Here we go. So we're gonna go in with Hydur here in the purple with the Inca. And on the other side we have in the yellow Otter with the Maya. So both eagle civs here that do not have any access to the stable. So it's kind of interesting to see them pick this map where I was sort of talking about you might want to be very aggressive. That's where a scout opening can be quite good with a lot of open space like this, because you have the best option for moving around and getting damage you have the most mobility. But something kind of interesting, though, when you play as one of these civs, is that you can... It's a little easier to get into your double army composition, at least in Feudal Age. Or actually, I'll just go ahead and skip it through the Dark Age a little bit here as I talk about this. But if you imagine, if you're a different civ, let's say you want to go for a stable and then make archers, we have to make a barracks, then a stable, then a range. But when you're playing one of these civs, if you're doing, say, like Eagle with Archer or Eagle with Skirm, then you need the barracks anyway to build a range, and then your barracks can be your second military building anyway. So it's a little easier to work with here. Oh, and also another feature you notice here, we have 2 eagles. That's not because somehow Hydur has found a way to... Ooh. Almost a nice pickup there, but Otter actually saves that Vil. Actually takes a lot of damage on that eagle, so I'm not sure if that's worth it. If we lose this eagle, it's definitely not worth it. But as I was going to say, on this map, you actually start with 2 of your starting scouts. You can barely see anything. Dang. Alright, hold on a second. Yeah, this... I can't really do anything, unfortunately. I mean... I think I have to restart the stream. Alright, that's what I'm going to do if it's really that bad. Just give me a second, folks. I have to end the stream and I'll restart it in a moment. Yeah. I have this problem all the time. Alright, just give me one moment, folks, if you would.